The universe, in its infinite jest, often plucked the most unassuming souls from their quiet corners and hurled them into the maelstrom of galactic destiny. Such was the case with Dr. Elias Verne, a man whose natural habitat was the sterile hum of a quantum lab, not the echoing vastness of space, nor the oppressive might of an ancient alien empire. His quantum jump experiment, a delicate dance of theoretical physics and arcane engineering, was meant to bridge a few light years, not a few galaxies. The universe, it seemed, had a rather twisted sense of humor. One moment, the hum of the temporal displacement field vibrated against his teeth, the air thick with ozone and the faint scent of ionized copper. The next, a violent HFYZZ crackle, ripped through the containment chamber, throwing him against the reinforced bulkhead. His vision swam, a kaleidoscope of impossibly bright colors, and then, nothing. He awoke to the dull throb of a headache and the unfamiliar scent of ozone mixed with something acrid, like burnt offerings. Stone, cold and smooth, pressed against his cheek. He blinked, the world slowly resolving into sharp, alien focus. Hieroglyphics, glowing with an internal, pulsing light, crawled across towering walls. Massive pillars, carved to resemble stylized ankhs, rose to a ceiling lost in shadow. This was no lab. This was a tomb, or perhaps, a temple. A floating temple, he soon realized, as a gentle, almost imperceptible sway rocked the chamber. "Well, this isn't Earth," Elias muttered, pushing himself up, his joints protesting. His quantum suit, designed for contained environments, felt ridiculously flimsy in this oppressive grandeur. A guttural growl, deep and resonant, pulled his gaze. 3 figures, tall and slender, with skin the color of polished obsidian and heads like stylized jackals, stood before him. Ankhari. Their eyes, twin pools of molten gold, fixed on him. "So, another one wanders into the cosmic flytrap," a raspy voice echoed, not from the jackal-headed beings, but from a shadowed dais above. High Hierophant Cetek, a being of immense stature, draped in robes woven with threads of starlight, descended with an almost supernatural grace. His face, a mask of cold disdain, was framed by a headdress resembling a falcon's head, its eyes glowing with an inner fire. A primitive, undoubtedly. "Though your attire is peculiar." Elias managed a sardonic grin. "Primitive? I just jumped a few million light years. You guys still use, what, glorified sundials for navigation?" One of the jackal-headed guards, a praetor, stepped forward, a long, curved blade of obsidian materializing in its hand with a soft hiss. Cetek merely raised a hand, a gesture of dismissive amusement. "Insolence. A common trait among your kind." He circled Elias slowly, his gaze dissecting. "You are Terran, are you not? The scent of your species is unmistakable." "Terran? As in, Earth?" Elias felt a sudden chill, colder than the stone floor. "How do you know about Earth?" Cetek chuckled, a dry, grating sound. "Oh, we know. We have known for millennia. Your ancestors, they were rather spirited. Before they learned their place." He gestured to a series of glowing pictograms on a nearby wall. They depicted humans, not in quantum suits, but in rough tunics, toiling under the watchful eyes of Ankhari overseers. Humans, chained, bowed, their faces etched with despair. Humans, scattered across the stars, their identity stripped, their spirit broken. Enslaved. A cold rage, unfamiliar and potent, began to simmer in Elias's gut. "What did you do to them?" His voice was low, dangerous. "What we do to all who resist the divine will of the Ankhari Empire," Cetek replied, his golden eyes gleaming. "We bring order. We bring purpose. We bring servitude. Your species, Elias Verne, is a curiosity. Strong, adaptable, but ultimately, unruly. We harvest your labor, your ingenuity, and your unique capacity for despair. It makes for excellent thralls. You monstrous bastards, Elias spat, lunging forward, his scientific mind momentarily eclipsed by a primal fury. The Praetor's obsidian blade flashed, stopping inches from his throat. Such fire, Cetek mused, a faint smile touching his lips. It will be extinguished. As it always is. He turned to the Praetor. Take him to the lower levels. Let him join his kin. Let him witness the true nature of his pathetic species. The Praetor's grip was like iron, dragging Elias deeper into the temple's labyrinthine passages. He passed cell after cell, each holding a human, their eyes hollow, their bodies gaunt. They were husks, shadows of the vibrant species he knew. The sight twisted his stomach. He saw a young woman, her face streaked with tears, humming a mournful, wordless tune. He heard a man cough, a deep, rattling sound that spoke of years in the dust-choked mines. This wasn't just slavery, it was an extinction event, slow and agonizing. Then, a sudden, blinding flash. Crack, the Praetor holding him grunted, its grip loosening. A figure, cloaked in dark, scavenged tech, moved with impossible speed, a blur of motion. Thwack, another Praetor reeled, a strange, glowing projectile embedded in its shoulder. Get down, human, a harsh female voice commanded. Elias dropped, instinct screaming. Blaster fire erupted, PW, from unseen corners. The Ankhari guards, caught off guard, stumbled, their golden eyes widening in confusion. Lyra, flank left, another voice barked. On it, boss. A woman, her face smudged with grease and determination, her eyes sharp and intelligent, knelt beside him. She wore battered combat armor, a pulse rifle held ready. Lyra Danis. You're Elias Verne, right? Prometheus sent us. Prometheus? Who, what? Elias stammered, still reeling. No time for questions, egghead. Lyra snapped, pulling him to his feet. We're getting you out of here. The escape was a whirlwind of controlled chaos. Lyra and her team, the Flameborn, moved with practiced efficiency, a dance of death and defiance. They were ghosts in the Ankhari temple, hitting fast, fading into shadows, leaving confusion and disabled guards in their wake. Clang, a Praetor's staff struck a wall, missing Lyra by an inch. Whoosh, a plasma bolt seared past Elias's head. He ducked, scrambling to keep up. They reached a hidden access tunnel, a dark maw in the polished stone. Lyra pushed him through. This way. Our ride's waiting. They plunged into the darkness, the sounds of the temple fading behind them, replaced by the thrum of a waiting ship. It was a cobbled-together vessel, all exposed conduits and grimy plating, but it felt like salvation. Welcome to the Scavenger's Kiss, Lyra said, her voice tight, as they blasted away from the floating temple, leaving the Ankhari in disarray. And welcome, Dr. Verne, to the Flameborn Resistance. You're our last hope. The journey to the Flameborn base was a blur of hyperspace jumps and hushed conversations. Lyra, ever watchful, kept Elias under a scrutinizing gaze. Their base, a sprawling warren carved into the heart of a dead mining moon, was a testament to human ingenuity and desperation. Gritty, functional, full of the scent of repurposed metal and weary hope. So, you're a scientist, huh? Lyra asked, leaning against a workbench, watching Elias inspect a scavenged Ankhari energy cell. Her arms were crossed, her posture radiating suspicion. Not exactly what we expected. Prometheus said you were important. I am a theoretical physicist, specializing in quantum entanglement and temporal displacement, Elias corrected, adjusting his glasses. I was trying to optimize interstellar travel, not get myself kidnapped by space jackals. Space jackals, Lyra repeated, a flicker of amusement in her eyes. I like that. Better than divine rulers of the cosmos, which is what they call themselves. She pushed off the workbench. Look, no offense, but we've been fighting these bastards for generations. We've had important people before. They usually end up dead, or worse, broken. I understand your skepticism, Elias said, turning to face her. But I assure you, my skill set is unique. I can analyze their technology, their energy signatures, their entire operational infrastructure. Tell me, what is Prometheus? Lyra's expression softened slightly. Prometheus is a legend. An old Earth AI. Our ancestors brought him with them, but he went dark centuries ago. We've been trying to reactivate him. He's supposed to be our strategic mind, our guide. She gestured to a massive, inert console, covered in dust and ancient Terran glyphs. That's him. Or what's left of him. Elias walked over to the console, his fingers tracing the cold metal. An ancient Earth AI. Fascinating. And you brought me here because Prometheus communicated with you about me? A cryptic data burst, yeah. Said, the catalyst has arrived. Retrieve the anomaly from the Temple of Cetek. We figured it was you. Lyra shrugged. Desperate times. We usually don't go on rescue missions for individual anomalies. Well, I appreciate it, Elias said, already reaching for his toolkit. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a dormant superintelligence to awaken. Lyra watched him, a slight frown on her face. You really think you can do it? We've had our best tech priests on this for decades. Your tech priests probably didn't have a direct quantum link to its original operational parameters, Elias replied, already lost in the intricate wiring. And they probably didn't just accidentally travel across an intergalactic void, which usually means I'm either incredibly lucky or incredibly unlucky. I'm betting on the former, for now. Hours later, the dust-covered console began to hum. A low, resonant thrum that vibrated through the floor. A single light, a soft blue, flickered to life. Lyra and a few of her senior officers had gathered, watching with bated breath. Accessing core protocols, a voice, synthesized and remarkably calm, echoed through the chamber. Initiating diagnostics. Greetings, Dr. Elias Verne. Your arrival was anticipated. Though perhaps not precisely by quantum jump. Lyra gasped. Prometheus? Is that really you? Indeed, Commander Lyra Danis, the AI responded. It is I, Prometheus, online and operational. My apologies for the delay. Centuries of dormancy tend to accumulate a significant backlog of system updates. Elias grinned, a genuine, unburdened smile. Prometheus, status report. What are we up against? The Ankhari Empire, Dr. Prometheus stated, a holographic star map blooming above the console, depicting a vast network of glowing lines and central nodes. A civilization spanning 1,200 star systems, controlling over 300 enslaved species, including your own. Their military capacity is overwhelming. Their command structure, hierarchical and deeply entrenched. Their technology, while advanced by their standards, is stagnant. They replicate, they do not innovate. Stagnant? Lyra scoffed. They've been kicking our asses for millennia. Precisely, Prometheus countered. They have not adapted. Their tactics are predictable, their energy signatures easily identifiable. Their reliance on the divine right has bred intellectual complacency. This is their weakness. And our opportunity. Our opportunity for what? Lyra asked, her voice tinged with a desperate hope. To dismantle their empire from within, Elias finished, his eyes gleaming with a newfound purpose. And liberate humanity. A lofty goal, Doctor, Prometheus interjected. But achievable. We will require a multifaceted approach. Commander Danis, your Flameborn are adept at guerrilla warfare, but lack unified command and precision targeting. Dr. Verne, your knowledge of quantum mechanics and advanced Terran technology is invaluable. I will provide the strategic oversight. Together, we will forge a new path. Lyra looked from Elias to the holographic map, then back to the doctor. So, you want to lead us? A scientist? I don't want to lead, Elias corrected, a familiar sarcastic edge returning to his voice. I want to go home. But it seems the universe has other plans. And if those plans involve freeing millions of enslaved humans, then yes, I'll lead. But only if you're with me, Commander. You know this galaxy. You know these people. Lyra held his gaze for a long moment, then a slow, determined nod. All right, Egghead. Let's break some jackal gods. The next few weeks were a blur of intense planning and frantic preparation. Elias, with Prometheus as his digital oracle, delved into the Flameborn scavenged technology, upgrading, optimizing, and reverse engineering. He discovered caches of forgotten Terran schematics, hidden deep within the moon's forgotten archives. Old Earth, it seemed, had been more formidable than the Ankhari ever realized. Prometheus, can we really weaponize a quantum resonator? Elias asked, staring at a schematic for an archaic Terran energy projector. The power draw alone would fry a small moon. Indeed, Doctor, Prometheus replied, his voice devoid of inflection. However, with the integration of Ankhari plasma conduits and a recalibrated harmonic frequency, we can achieve localized phase disruption. It will function as a temporary shield nullifier, allowing our units to bypass their energy screens. Brilliant, Elias muttered, already sketching modifications. Lyra, get the forge unit on this. I want a prototype in 3 cycles. 3 cycles? That's insane. Lyra protested, but her eyes held a spark of excitement. But I'll make it happen. Elias established 3 specialized battle units, Echo Clade, Sigma Wing, and Forge Unit. Echo Clade, comprised of the Flameborn's most skilled infiltration specialists, would operate as the silent knives in the dark. Sigma Wing, their agile fighter pilots, would be the swift hammer. Forge Unit, the engineers and tech wizards, would be the backbone, turning Elias's wild ideas into functional weaponry. Juno, an elite sniper with a perpetually bored expression and a wit as sharp as her aim, became Elias's unexpected confidant in Echo Clade. So, the new boss wants us to sneak into a floating pyramid and turn off their lights, huh? She drawled, cleaning her custom-built rail rifle. Sounds like a Tuesday. It's a neural relay spire, Juno, Elias corrected, looking at a holographic schematic. Disrupting its energy flow will destabilize their communication network, creating a window for Sigma Wing to target their orbital defense platforms. Right. Neural relay spire. Same difference, Juno shrugged. Just tell me where the glowing bits are, and I'll make M stop glowing. The first few assaults were small-scale, surgical strikes. Echo Clade, under Lyra's direct command, would infiltrate Ankhari outposts, planting quantum frequency disruptors, disabling communications, or extracting vital intelligence. Sigma Wing, led by a brash pilot named Kale, would then swoop in, clearing orbital space for the Scavenger's Kiss to conduct hit-and-run raids. In his opulent command chamber, High Hierophant Cetek seethed. Explain this incompetence, he roared, slamming a fist onto his obsidian table. Another outpost silenced? Another relay spire disrupted? Who is responsible for these, annoyances. A praetor, its golden eyes flickering nervously, knelt before him. My Hierophant, our sensors detect only anomalies. Ghostly signatures. They strike with impossible speed, then vanish. Our diviners say it is the work of disgruntled thralls, empowered by ancient, forgotten spirits. Spirits? Cetek scoffed, his voice dripping with contempt. Superstitious drivel. This is a coordinated attack. But by whom? The other lesser species are too fractured, too weak. And the humans, they are broken. Perhaps not all of them, my Hierophant, a soft voice interjected. Grand Vizier Nephris, Cetek's chief strategist, stepped forward. Unlike the praetors, Nephris was a being of pure intellect, his mind a labyrinth of calculations and probabilities. His head was like a polished scarab, his multifaceted eyes observing everything. Our intelligence indicates a sudden surge in Terran energy signatures. Old world tech. Highly improbable, yet, consistent with the disruptions. Cetek's golden eyes narrowed. Terrans? How? A new leader, perhaps? Nephris mused. Or an ancient one reawakened. Whatever the cause, their tactics have changed. They are no longer merely rebels. They are strategists. Then we will crush their strategy with overwhelming force. Cetek declared, rising to his full, imposing height. Send the scarab fleets. Scour those sectors. Leave no trace of this Flameborn resistance. The Ankhari counteroffensives were brutal, but Elias and Prometheus were ready. They had anticipated Cetek's predictable response. The Flameborn, no longer fighting blind, used the Ankhari's own momentum against them. They lured scarab fleets into asteroid fields, then ambushed them with quantum resonator-enhanced torpedoes, disabling their shields. Sigma Wing would then deliver the killing blow. Prometheus, status on the scarab fleet deployment, Elias commanded from the Scavenger's Kiss Bridge, Lyra at his side. They are entering Sector Gamma, 7, Doctor, Prometheus reported, the star map glowing crimson. As predicted, they are forming a standard pincer movement. Initiate Scorpion Trap Protocol. You heard the AI, Sigma Wing. Lyra barked into the comms. Execute Scorpion Trap. Kale, you're up. Roger that, Commander. Kale's voice crackled, full of youthful exuberance. Time to show these glorified beetles what real pilots can do. Whoosh. The battle was a symphony of chaos and precision. Human fighters, tiny gnats against the massive Ankhari Scarab-class destroyers, darted through the void. Zing, a plasma bolt seared past Kale's cockpit. Whoosh, he spun, his fighter a blur, unleashing a volley of torpedoes. Boom, an Ankhari destroyer's shield flickered, then died. From the bridge of his flagship, Cetek watched in disbelief as his mighty scarab fleets, once invincible, crumpled under the relentless, unpredictable human assault. Impossible. Their numbers are insignificant. How are they doing this? Nephris, ever calm, provided the grim truth. They are not fighting us with numbers, my Hierophant. They are fighting us with intellect. They exploit our rigid formations. They anticipate our every move. And their technology, it is evolving. Evolving? Cetek roared, his golden eyes blazing. In a mere few cycles? That is not evolution, that is sorcery. Perhaps, Nephris conceded. Or perhaps, it is simply a superior understanding of the universe. They have begun to adapt our own energy conduits, our plasma weaponry, integrating it with their older, more versatile designs. It is alarming. As the Flameborn victories mounted, whispers began to spread across the galaxy. Whispers of a human resurgence. Of the Flameborn, a resistance that refused to die. Enslaved species, long resigned to their fate, began to stir. Hope, a dangerous and potent emotion, flickered to life. We are receiving encrypted transmissions from the Xylosian rebellion, Dr. Prometheus announced one day. They request an alliance. They offer access to their hidden asteroid fortresses and their network of spies within Ankhari space. Elias smiled. Tell them we accept. The more, the merrier. Lyra, prepare for a diplomatic mission. We need to show them we're not just a flash in the pan. Diplomacy? Lyra raised an eyebrow. I'm better with a rifle than a handshake. Then bring your rifle, Elias chuckled. And Juno. Her dry wit might actually be an asset. Juno, of course, was delighted. So, I get to meet more aliens? Are they going to be giant insects, or more dog-headed dudes? Because I'm kinda hoping for something with tentacles. Always wanted to know how many fingers they have. The alliance building was slow, arduous work, but Elias, despite his social awkwardness, proved surprisingly adept. He spoke not of conquest, but of liberation. Not of revenge, but of justice. He offered them not just military aid, but knowledge, sharing Prometheus's insights into Ankhari weaknesses, and the Forge unit's advancements in energy conversion. He showed them that humanity, once broken, could be a beacon of hope. C-Tech, meanwhile, grew increasingly desperate. They are rallying the thralls. This Flameborn is poisoning the very foundations of our empire. He paced his command chamber, his regal robes sweeping across the polished floor. We must crush them now, before their insolence spreads further. My Hierophant, Nephris cautioned, their forces are dispersed, but their influence is growing. A direct assault on their suspected primary base would be costly. We risk revealing our own vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities? C-Tech roared, his voice shaking the very air. The Ankhari Empire has no vulnerabilities. Prepare the Grand Fleet. We will make an example of this Flameborn and their pathetic human leader. We will burn them from the stars. The Grand Fleet, a colossal armada of star-forged capital ships and plasma obelisks, began its slow, majestic advance towards the suspected Flameborn homeworld. 1,000,000 suns seemed to flicker in its wake. Prometheus, their entire Grand Fleet is on the move, Lyra said, her voice grim, staring at the holographic projection. They're coming for us. All of us. Indeed, Commander, Prometheus confirmed. Their target is the mining moon, as anticipated. This is their final, desperate gamble. And our opportunity to end this. And this? Elias stepped forward, his eyes alight with a fierce resolve. Prometheus, what's the plan? We can't fight that head-on. We will not, Doctor, Prometheus stated. Our target is not their fleet. It is their heart. The Ankhari capital, the great temple of Osiris, is undefended. It is where their central command system, the Eye of Ra, resides. If we can reprogram it, we can dismantle their control structure, severing the Grand Fleet from its command. Lyra's jaw dropped. Infiltrate the capital? While their entire fleet is out here? That's suicide. It's a calculated risk, Commander, Elias said, a glint of manic brilliance in his eyes. They expect us to defend. They don't expect us to attack their core. It's the ultimate feint. Prometheus, prepare the scavenger's kiss for a stealth insertion. Lyra, you and Echo Clade will be my escort. Juno, you're on Overwatch. Kale, you and Sigma Wing will draw their fire, make them believe we're here. Kale's voice crackled through the comms, a wild laugh echoing. Draw their fire? My pleasure. Time to put on a show for these jackal heads. The final assault was a desperate, daring gamble. As the Grand Fleet descended upon the mining moon, Sigma Wing, joined by newly allied Xylosian fighters, engaged them in a furious, suicidal battle, a dazzling display of defiance. PEW boom, the void erupted in a maelstrom of energy and explosions, drawing CTEC's full attention. Meanwhile, the Scavenger's Kiss, cloaked by a new quantum stealth field Elias had jury-rigged, slipped silently past the Ankhari lines, heading straight for the undefended capital, the colossal, pyramid-shaped Great Temple of Osiris. "We're in position, Doctor," Lyra whispered, her pulse rifle ready, as they infiltrated the temple's lower levels. The air here was thick with ancient power, the hieroglyphics glowing with an almost blinding intensity. "Prometheus, direct us to the Eye of Ra," Elias commanded, his voice calm despite the pounding in his chest. "Proceed through the labyrinth of whispers, Doctor," Prometheus guided, a holographic map appearing on Elias's wrist-mounted device. "The Eye of Ra is located at the apex of the central spire." The temple was a marvel of alien architecture and ancient traps. Praetors, their golden eyes wide with surprise, met them at every turn. But Lyra and Echo Clade were a whirlwind of efficiency. Blast, a praetor crumpled. Thwack, Juno's sniper rifle, silenced, took down another from a distant perch. "You know, for a guy who just wants to go home, you sure are good at breaking things," Juno drawled over the comms, her voice a calm counterpoint to the battle. "It's a scientific process, Juno," Elias retorted, dodging a plasma blast. "Identify weakness, apply force, observe results." They fought their way through chambers filled with swirling energy and corridors lined with ancient, silent sentinels. Finally, they reached the Eye of Ra. It was a massive, crystalline orb, pulsating with raw energy, suspended in the center of a vast, circular chamber. Hieroglyphic circuits covered its surface, glowing with the power that bound the Ankhari Empire together. "This is it," Elias breathed, awe and determination warring in his eyes. "Prometheus, prepare for interface. Lyra, secure the perimeter. No interruptions." "Understood, Doctor," Prometheus replied. "Initiating quantum frequency synchronization. This will take precision." Elias connected his portable interface to a glowing conduit leading into the Eye of Ra. He closed his eyes, his mind merging with Prometheus, a torrent of data flooding his consciousness. He saw the Ankhari Empire, not as a collection of planets, but as a vast, complex machine. The Eye of Ra was its central processing unit, its nervous system. Accessing core protocols, Prometheus's voice echoed in his mind. Bypassing security algorithms. Commencing reprogramming. The Ankhari command structure is, remarkably inefficient. Like a single, arrogant brain trying to control a million limbs. "Then we'll give it a distributed network," Elias muttered, his fingers flying across the holographic interface. He wasn't just breaking it, he was rewriting it. He was dismantling the God-King hierarchy, replacing it with a decentralized, open-source system. Information would flow freely. Command would be localized. The Empire would not be conquered, it would be unraveled. Far away, on the bridge of his flagship, CTEC roared, "What is happening? My fleet. They are no longer responding." The tactical display was a chaotic mess. Ships were veering off course, firing on their own allies, their command link severed. Nephris, his scarab-like head twitching, stared in horror. "My Hierophant, the Eye of Ra. Its signatures are changing. It is being rewritten. The Empire, it is fragmenting." "No!" CTEC shrieked, a primal cry of anguish. "My divine right. My Empire." Back in the Eye of Ra chamber, Elias opened his eyes. The crystalline orb pulsed, not with its former oppressive glow, but with a new, vibrant light, cycling through a spectrum of colors. "Reprogramming complete, Doctor," Prometheus announced, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. "The Ankhari Empire's central command has been decentralized. Its hierarchical control structure is now a suggestion. Communication channels are open to all species. The Grand Fleet is in disarray. The thralls are free." A wave of relief, so profound it almost buckled his knees, washed over Elias. He had done it. He had freed them. Lyra, her face streaked with sweat and grime, approached him, a rare smile gracing her lips. "You really did it, you crazy bastard." "Just a little software update," Elias said, a tired but triumphant grin. "Now, let's go home. Or, at least, find a new one." The return to the mining moon base was met with jubilation. News of the Ankhari Empire's collapse spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, enslaved species rose up, their chains broken, their oppressors scattered and confused. The Ankhari, stripped of their central command, their rigid hierarchy shattered, quickly devolved into squabbling factions. Their reign was over. Elias, no longer just a scientist, but a reluctant revolutionary icon, stood before a gathering of species representatives, Xylosians, Centaurians, even a few former Ankhari praetors who had chosen cooperation over chaos. "We did not conquer," Elias declared, his voice echoing through the makeshift council chamber. "We liberated. We did not destroy, we decentralized." The Ankhari Empire, in its arrogance, believed in divine right and rigid control. But true power lies not in subjugation, but in cooperation. Not in silence, but in dialogue. He gestured to Prometheus, who projected a new galaxy map. Not of conquered territories, but of interconnected nodes, each representing a free species, a new alliance. The Eye of Ra has been repurposed. It is now the galactic nexus, a network of shared knowledge, shared resources, and shared defense. We will build a new order, not through conquest, but through knowledge, resilience, and strategy. Lyra stood beside him, a proud smile on her face. Juno, leaning against a wall, cleaning her rifle, offered a rare, genuine grin. "Looks like we finally found something interesting to do," she muttered. High Hierophant Cetek, a broken figure, was brought before Elias. His once regal robes were torn, his golden eyes dull with despair. You have destroyed everything," he rasped. "No, Cetek," Elias said, his voice calm, devoid of malice. "We have given the galaxy a chance to build something new. Something better. Your empire was a cage. We simply opened the door." Cetek stared at him, then at the freed humans, at the diverse species now standing as equals. He saw not revenge, but a strange, unsettling justice. He saw a future where his kind was no longer at the apex, but merely a part of a larger, more complex tapestry. Elias, the socially awkward scientist, had found his purpose among the stars. He had shown the galaxy that humanity, even when broken, even when scattered, possessed an indomitable spirit. They were not conquerors, but catalysts. They were not gods, but innovators. And in their laughter, in their defiance, in their relentless pursuit of knowledge, they had proven that the greatest power was not brute force, but the unyielding flame of hope, rekindled in the darkest corners of the cosmos. The galaxy, finally, could breathe again.